Hamilton Wright made the quote that happy is the community that engages together at this time of year in a conspiracy of love. Well, if that's the case, then London, Ontario was a hotbed of conspiracy over the course of the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's been amazing how many different groups donated to us now. I have a list here that I just wrote down for the taping of this. Now, these aren't particular groups or individuals. These are sectors of the different community that have come together in order to help the food bank this year. And they didn't have to do it. It's a tougher year. We know because of cost of living and other things that it hasn't been easy for them. Nevertheless, these groups organized, they came together, and it was wonderful. You know, things like gardening groups. Now, these are people that know Luis, of course, and they garden in their particular areas of the city and bring that yield to the food bank to help to distribute to hungry families, that fresh produce. It's been really great, but they came down this year and helped. And there was places like Hemans that was part of that as well. We've had an ongoing partnership with them. They always bring us strawberries and other things. But that whole green sector cooperated this past few weeks, and it was wonderful. Business Cares. Now, we know about Business Cares. I mean, they, in the weeks that they've been operating in December, they raised almost 700,000 pounds of food to bring to the food bank. It was awesome. That's almost 700 businesses. It's a remarkable thing. That's been going on for a long time, for decades, and they've been a real support to the food bank. And this year, they didn't know how they were going to do, but they exceeded last year's total, and it was great. That happened to a lot of the different groups, and I think because of the times that we're living in, people kind of doubted that would happen, but it did, and it's been amazing. There have been schools, all sorts of different schools that had food drives in the month of December. There were university and colleges, various ones that helped out. Now, we also run a student food bank every Saturday morning at the food bank, and we allow the post-secondary institutions to come together and run the food bank to help their students. We don't operate it, they do, but they use our services. So they've responded in kind and had the food drives to help us, and we really appreciated that. Hospitals, we've always had a good relationship with hospital employees and others, but they were good to us again this year, and I remember how good they were to us during the pandemic and in the way in which they organized to help get us food. That was great. Do you remember the Smile Cookie campaign? Now, that was Tim Hortons. That only ran for 5 days, the selling of those Smile Cookies, but they ended up raising over $200,000. Now, half of that went to the Tim Hortons camps for kids, which is important, but the other half, over 100,000, came to the food bank just in December and just in time for us to be able to meet the demand that's come so heavy this time of year. There were neighborhood associations that have cooperated and helped. Now, Jane and I and kids, we helped out with the Old South Community Association here, and they had, Winter in the Park, all of those they were really great, but it happened all across the city. Hyde Park had its Santa Claus parade. We had the big Santa Claus parade that was downtown, where people came and donated to the food bank, a lot of food bank, when they came to the parade. I mean, that was a pretty awesome time. We've done that for years and years and years, but it's a great Christmas celebration time. Firefighters and the police, what can I say? The very first food drive I was part of 40 years ago, because I was a firefighter at the time, and all the fire halls opened up, and all the firefighters contributed, as did the police association. I remember they came down with a paddy wagon, and it was all full of food. That was in that first year. It was wonderful, but they've been with us ever since, and they helped us again this year, and we thank them for it. There are faith groups now all across the board, and I mean, they've been really good to us all through the years. You would expect that's their ethos. It's what they do, is help those that are struggling and feeling marginalized. But they really came out heavy this Christmas for us, and we appreciate them doing that, because I think they understand, because they see it themselves at their own places where they're helping, that people are finding it pretty difficult. Cultural groups came together as well. I think of the Muslim community, I think of the Sikh and the Hindu community. They came together as well, the Jewish community and others. They all showed up this December in order to help the food bank, because everybody reads the news. Everybody knows, they go to a grocery store and shop, and they don't know how much food is. And that, rather than making them just kind of climber up and care for themselves, got them to reach out and to help us, and through us, the 6,000 families that we help each month. It's pretty great that they did that. There's service clubs, Rotaries and Kiwanis and Lions Club and Optimus and others. They do this every December as well, and they spread it around to different groups, but a lot of them have really helped the food bank this year. And it's amazing, I mean, that they did that. A lot of them had to do a lot of different activities in order to raise those funds, but they did it. It was wonderful. And then there are those thousands and thousands of individuals who donated to us. Now, these people, they show up down at the food bank. They show up with their car, they open up their trunk, they drop off some food, or they'll come and see somebody there and they'll give some cash or give a check that we receive and give to them. But they showed up in the thousands this year. I mean, it was wonderful, but that's just at the food bank. You know, when you think of how many of them donated at grocery stores, or how many of them donated online, almost half of the resources that we get these days come online. These are individual Londoners, thousands and thousands of them that donated this year. That is pretty something. There were sports associations that helped. Ball teams, London Knights helped, others helped. It was great. There's veterans associations that also help food drives to be able to help us. And then there's also legacy gifts. At the end of the year, often somebody who has passed away and leaves an estate have wished to leave that money to the food bank in order to help to protect its future. And we got those this year as well. And it's been really helpful to us, but we're so thankful that people keep that in their mind as they do it. We don't ask for it, but people do that, and we've really appreciated it. There's arts and music associations, and there's groups like CBC, if you remember, Make the Season Kind this year. They did it again. They've done it for years for the food bank, but they did it again for us this year, which was great. There were art galleries that were helping out. There were music groups that were also helping out and holding events in order to be able to help the food bank. There were seniors' homes. Now, that happens a lot, you would guess, because that's part of also the ethos of seniors, is how they grew up. It was important to them to give back to the community. But they contributed this year as well, and we really thank them as well. There's also other social agencies. Now, these agencies, we help almost 50, as you know, but they turned around in December, many of them, and held food drives and others to try to help us during the month of December, as we have tried to help them through the rest of the year. You know, there's a lot of coordination goes on among social agencies. We have done that for years. It was especially true in the pandemic and has continued since then, that we collaborate together and try to help one another. And we thank those groups, because they haven't found it easy. Many of them are facing cutbacks from governments and others. It's not been an easy time for them, or an easy Christmas, and yet they still organized and held food drives for us. And there would be many, many more that I've forgotten. And I'm sorry about that. I had to go down to the food bank because somebody was down there that wanted to see me, so I didn't get a chance to finish the list. But I'll tell you, this whole thing about the conspiracy of love, it's true. We experienced it this year. And this year, perhaps more than any of the 39 other Christmases that we have had, is the time when people really needed to show up to help us, and also were the most greatly challenged in all of those 4 decades to have to do it. They've got bills to pay, everything else. And yet they did. Nobody got together and sent them an email and asked them to do it. These things just naturally emerged from around a community, points of light that happened all over the place, and they really came together during this time as we head into Christmas and the time between Christmas and New Year's. It's a remarkable thing because it was spontaneous. It was not planned. It was not organized. Londoners just kind of do it. You know, they have this instinct that when Christmas comes, they know they want to give back, and they do. And so from all of us at the food bank, it's amazing, but it's thousands and thousands of you. It's impossible to name any one particular group that helped to push us over the edge or whatever it is and get us what we need. It was all of you. It was every single one of you, in whatever capacity you gave, or ever how much you gave. And let's not forget the 4,000 volunteers that right now they're down at the food bank or out in the community helping out what they can do. The city is remarkable. And for a brief period of time, they conspired. They came together and they donated without ever planning it together. What a community. This says a lot about us. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, everybody. Happy Hanukkah. And thank you so much for all that you've done for us throughout the year. We'll see you in 2026.